We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from the Valley of the Sun.
I wonder how many people fast forward all through that right there.
I know.
I would.
I don't know. You notice my hat? I'm like already in vacation mode.
Today, Jill and I are talking about 5 ways Land Academy members are overpricing mailers.
So here's
Last week was our vacation, by the way.
Oh, we're back? Well, no.
Yeah, we're
I'm
back.
still traveling.
We're still in Santa Barbara. We're in Santa Barbara now.
Okay. I don't know what week things are at. Don't ask
Jill doesn't
me.
know
I
when
just
these
work
are.
here.
Yep. Jill's just the talent. She's like
Thanks.
she's one of those people that
I wish I could.
has her name on the back of the chair.
That would be nice
says
to
DeWitt
just sit
back there.
down and they do my hair and my makeup. Clearly, I do my own hair and my own makeup. I don't get that perk.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. And I should say, please listen to this. We are phasing out RealQuest for our community, the Land Academy community. I get misty every time I talk about this because RealQuest is honestly the reason that I started this whole entire company. And it's just become obsolete. And the contract that they're asking us to sign in this next renewal period is an absolute outrage. And
Not even the money. It's the
real reason is that
good.
DataTree is so much better.
Yeah.
Everybody loves DataTree, me included. I haven't logged onto RealQuest in over a year and a half. I just looked.
Isn't that funny? Me too. I don't even go there.
Jill and I personally instruct a handful of Land Academy members or non-members in a live class called Career Path. If you want this to be your career or it is your career, please take a look at Career Path and let us know. Support at landacademy.com.
Whole place. Leonard wrote, answering Evan B's question. Interesting. I guess we're going to figure this out as I go through
Yes,
it.
we are.
Okay. It's hard to assess why a particular campaign worked or not. There's a certain degree of chance. You obviously improve your odds with more mail and also diversifying areas. We don't know where you are mailing or your pricing. Hotter markets tend to have a lower response in my experience.
Exactly.
But you can make a big margin if you get something.
If you hit one there.
Maybe you need to consider more rural areas, which you might get a deal easier, albeit this might make the sales potentially slower. I've had differences in mailers when I've just replicated the exact same pricing in comparable areas, and then it didn't work. So when I started almost 3 years ago, we sent out 3 mailers, 4,000 units. And before we got 3 lots from our last 200 unit mailer, what I would do is look up like 50 of your offers and do a would you do this deal analysis. This ties into today. And then maybe even book a call with Kevin before you send your next mailer. Keep in mind the mailer is only part of it, and you must ensure you're answering those calls, thank you, and working the deals proactively. You can do this if you continue to put the effort in. That's totally good. So this person's obviously was struggling. We don't know the details behind it. We're going to talk about it today.
Yeah.
But no matter what it is, I just want to say before I hand it to you is by answering the phone, you could add money, you could take money away. If you don't answer the phone, you don't have a chance. You will fail every time.
Every once in a while, my point in putting this in here is every once in a while, somebody types into Discord, hey, I sent a bunch of mail out. It just didn't work. And we all chuckle because first of all, most of us have been there, us included. And you just have to deconstruct. There's only a few reasons why it doesn't work.
We'll talk about those today.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. You know what my favorite thing is when people say it doesn't work? And like every single time that we've had this, and we've done consulting with people about this, we'll go, what about this one? And what about that one? And what about this one? They're like, oh. And then they call them back and then they do the deals.
That's what it is.
That's usually usually the problem.
I think, well, honestly, it's one of 2 reasons. The first one is you priced it so low. Like I did a mailer one time to Michigan. This is a lot of years ago. And I just sent it out for $500 a property. Every single property in Michigan that was over an acre. And I just got screamed at and wondered why it didn't work. This is like in 2002.
Before me.
Way before Jill. And so that's usually the case. That's an extreme example, but pricing on mailers so low that it's just silly. That'll kill a mailer. The real reason, the vast majority of the time, probably 90% of the time, someone says, yeah, I guess this doesn't work. Again, it's a tiny percentage of people in Land Academy. It's because of what they're not answering the phone and creating these deals. They're expecting people to just sign it and send it back, and then be compliant with everything you say. And people need contact.
All right, let's get to today's topic, because I have more about just that real one little part of it.
Today's topic: 5 ways Land Academy members are overpricing their mailers. This is the meat of the show.
Okay. So that's like the whole big picture. The mail goes out, I got to answer the phone, got it. I could add money, take money away, got it. But I want to take a step back. Today's show is really about just getting from A to B, not all the way to Z when you're staring at your bank account and it's all done and sold. A to B, which is getting these offers in the mail. And what is happening in this process where Land Academy people, so we're going to get real specific today, and I like this topic that you came up with, because Land Academy people are even goofing up. Because one would say, well, hold on, everybody. Lord knows they have the right education. Yep. They have the right mentors. Yep. They have the right support. Yep. They have access to stellar data. Yeah, we covered all that. Well, then wait a minute. How the heck are these people screwing up? What are you guys talking about? Well, I'm going to give you my 5, and I'm sure you can give me your 5. So I really thought about the people that we've talked to and what we've seen experience over the years here, working with hundreds of you. There's some things that still happen. So again, you have the education, you have that. You may or may not have used it, but we'll skip past that. But one of the things I've noticed is some Land Academy people have not followed our guideline and still have some feeling that they need to associate assessed value in this. Don't do that. That's number 1.
Well, can you explain that? Because that's not on my list, and it's really important, and
okay.
I actually missed it.
Okay. Assessed value with a property is not always exactly what the county thinks today your property is worth. It's not like a Zestimate or something like that. The county doesn't go in there. The county doesn't have those formulas. The county is doing 2 things. 1, they're using it to gauge how much your taxes should be based on that. And then 2, they only change it when there's a reason to change it. It might sit for years. If you've noticed some of these properties that you might buy, if you've been in this for more than a year, you know this. You've looked at a property and it had an assessed value of, let's say, $5,000. And you bought it for $40,000 and you sold it for $110,000. And all the while the taxes were only like, I don't know, $200 a year or something like that. And now it might get reassessed at some point. So it's never accurate, current, up to date. And it's often, I've talked to these counties about this too in the past, and they will full on admit, if you ask them, they're like, oh God, yeah, we're like at least 2 years behind by the time we take a look at this stuff.
Just being nice about it, I'm going to be a little bit more direct.
Do it.
Assessed value has nothing to do with market value.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Jack, it has to do something. Like it's the same county assessor. There has to be some relativity component. Yeah, this property is assessed for $5 million over here. It's worth more than this property that's assessed for $500 over here. No. Assessed value has no place in valuing a mailer.
Thank you.
It is something that we are taught our entire lives and careers by other sources of whatever, starting probably with our parents and them complaining when we were kids at the kitchen table about how their assessment went up and the property value went up, and so their taxes went up. Just forget all that. I have to make a big deal out of this, because just forget about assessed value. And this is the 21st century, and we have amazing tools to value and price real estate, which the vast majority of our members are utilizing correctly and smashing it out of the parks. And assessed value has no place for that.
Thank you. Number 2, they're skipping the red, yellow, green test.
Wow, I have 5 different.
Yeah,
5 different.
I've watched this. They blow through this. They're like, oh, I just got to get the mail out, and they're skipping some real components. Because one of the things, here's how I know this: when we're
You're gonna
doing
get 10 reasons, not 5.
Okay, sorry.
No,
This is going to be a long show, but I promise it's really beneficial. I know this when we're doing our Thursday member call and we're doing Would You Do This Deal with people. And we go, one of the things we'll do, we're like, okay, this looks good, that looks good. Let's go price it and see how many properties are available. When we zip over to put that zip code into Zillow or wherever we're looking at and to see how much is available, and there's 3,000 properties for sale in that zip code, I know they didn't do the red, yellow, green test, because that would have uncovered it. They would have never. Do you really want to swim in that pond? Heck no. I want to be one of 3,000. Oh, I narrowed it down to my size. Now there's 1,000. Great. I don't want to compete with 1,000 properties available between 1 and 5 acres. Not doing it. So I know they missed that. They skipped it. Number 3. Do you want to comment or you want me to keep going?
I want you to keep going, but I want you to just keep this in mind because I love your momentum and the advice that you're giving is great. The title of this show is Why People Overprice Mailers.
Yeah. They skipped the red, yellow, green. And
really? You think that's okay?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Why they overpriced? Let me go back. Number 1, they overpriced because they used assessed value in their calculations wrong. 2, they skipped the red, yellow, green test. They're not really looking at market data. They're not looking at what's for sale. They're skipping some of these things. Number 3 is this is a really good one that I see. Some counties, it's hard to get a good gauge of what's a good price right now. What's a good price per square foot? Some people are not digging far enough to get more than a handful of comps. You will probably not price your mailer. If you had 2 comps and one's $1 million and one's $1,000, you take the median and you send your mailer out on that. We're gonna, right? And because one somebody got, one had multi properties in there. Let's just say it was like a 10-pack. You didn't check and find that out. And one of them was us exchanging properties. And you took the median and said, well, I got the median price in here and that's what I based my offers on. That's wrong. You got to have more than a handful. Number 4, and I'll let you go on here. Number 4 reason, and I'm talking Land Academy members, people that we all know and love, that are goofing up and complaining about it, but they're not testing for reason.
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Before that mailer goes out, they're not taking a moment and saying, okay, if this came back right now today, would I buy it? And look at all the stuff that we look at, and look at what's available for now for sale, what's sold recently. Does this price fall in line with that? Like, oh yeah, if I could buy this for $18,000 right now, based on what I'm seeing, everything selling in this area is like, nothing less than $50,000. Yeah, I would do this deal. You have to test it for reason and make sure that you're right and your pricing was good before it goes out. And then my number 5 thing is, the people that are overpricing in Land Academy, they're passing it on to the wrong person. They might be, again, they don't think they're good at it. They're not investing the time on it. You could do this. I could do this. Am I going to be as good as him? No. But am I going to do it as fast as him? Hell no. Might take me weeks where it takes him hours, but you got to put the time in and learn this. And I think that some people are like, hey, my brother-in-law said he could do this, and I just told him the steps and let him run with it, and he priced my mailers. Hold on a little bit. Not the right person. 5
reasons people in Land Academy overprice mailers. Number 1, they use a service. They're subbing it out because they're trying to find an easy button. There's nothing easy about pricing a mailer.
like an online push a button service. Not like an internal service.
Those people have constantly approached Jill and I to do a joint venture where we sell the fact that fillintheblank.com is a way to price your mailer. Right. And forever, Jill and I have said, no, we're not doing it because it doesn't exist.
It misses stuff.
We created Neighbor Scoop. We would create a pricing tool if it was effective and share it with everybody and charge for it.
You're going to miss stuff.
It doesn't work. Here's why. If you take, Jill's example is perfect. There's property, here's a zip code, there's 20 comps for sale and active properties. The highest one's $1 million, the lowest one's $500. And there's a bunch of stuff in between. Wow, that's going to get so in an automated fashion. If it's pulling that data from an API and giving you an average or a mean number in the middle or an average, however you look at it, it's going to be wrong.
Yep.
You have to remove, this is in my number 2. So automatic service doesn't work, period. You're going to fail. Number 2.
Like an automated computer.
The most popular one is priced with a Y.
Right.
PRYCD.com. The two guys that started this are fatal narcissists. They contacted Jill. We had a couple of meetings. They were chewing with their mouth wide open during the call and pounding on the keyboard and wondering why two old people like us would ever not be graced with being involved with them. So, and it doesn't work. Time after time after time, people come to us and say the mailer didn't work. Well, or we got so many offers back and we couldn't do the deal because it wasn't priced right. And to which we say, yeah, I mean, that's our experience with priced also. Number two, and the reason that those services don't work is because they're not removing the exceptions. So in Jill's case, where there's one's a million, one's 500, and then there's a bunch that are probably correct comparison values in the middle, you need to remove the exceptions. And there's no automated way to do this. Well, wait a minute, Jack. What do you mean? There's not an if-then statement? I'm a mechanical engineer. I have to have a rule. What's the rule? There's no rule. You have to go in there and look at it and say, this $1 million exception, I don't know why it's in there, but it's completely and totally screwing up my percentages. My average price per acre for that zip code needs to be removed, entirely removed, not adjusted or removed. Maybe the $500 one needs to be removed too. And then the middle three give you an accurate price. I don't know, but I'll tell you, every zip code I analyze in price, I have to remove data. Every single one. And if there was an if-then statement or even an algorithm that was, let's say, 2 or 3 pages, believe me, I would write it. There's no way to do this. Every single person in Career Path who make millions of dollars a month, in many cases, there are people in Career Path that make $6, $7, $8, $10 million a year doing this, say they screwed this up at some point and they just believed in the data and sent it out and failed. You have to remove data exceptions. Number 3, they're not breaking up acreages. The price per acre for a property that's 0.5 acres, a half an acre, versus a 5-acre property versus a 40-acre property in the exact same zip code, that price per acre is going to be very different. So you want to break those up.
That's good. That's a good point.
Dig into the education, and we show you exactly how to break those up and why.
Right.
It starts with 640 acres and divide by 2 backwards. My next point is there are in more urban locations, pricing in a single zip code is not enough. You need to break the zip code up in a lot of cases. Or alternatively, you can go in solo and then have the person answering your phone adjust for it. We do a version of both. Whereas one zip code we just mailed where you could draw a line down the middle of the zip code. Half of it was in an urban center, and the other half was in the outskirts of a rural center with no way to get to it. So we're getting comps all over the place. So I had to break it out by APN, which is not hard. Again, if you check Chapter 4 in Land Academy 3.0, I talk all about this. Number 5, and this is the biggest reason, and Jill hit it, and it was her number 5 too. You're not testing the mailer. I've seen people do this. I review the concierge. We have a company, a service called Concierge Data, where we do all this stuff for you except price it. We take it right to the 5-yard line. All you got to do is change the percentages in the spreadsheet and send it to 020. And the only way that you're going to accurately change those percentages in the spreadsheet is if you test for reason. If you take, would you do this deal for yourself? You take a ton of. This is the truth. When we're done recording here, I'm going to spend the rest of the day, probably 6 to 8 hours today, testing for reason on a mailer that I got back from Concierge Data. And I already started to do it, and I'm like, wow, because we're constantly improving Concierge Data, and I'm like, wow, what they send back now is way different than what we sent back to a customer even like 5 months ago. It's truly just all teed up. All I have to do is look up 2 or 3 properties in every zip code, maybe 5, 8 properties in every zip code at different acreage sizes, and see if I would do the deal. And then adjust the offer percentage to a point where, yeah, I would do the deal. And then finally, this is out of the scope of this a little bit, but it's a topic that's worth talking about in this context. Wow, it's 20 minutes long.
I know.
Very often, there are zip codes in counties that don't have enough data. There's no property that's been sold, and there's no property for sale. You have 2 choices, depending on your experience level and confidence level. Number 1, you can go to another county and work that. Or number 2, if you have some confidence there and you have, maybe it's where you live, you can piece it all together through different sources and send out a mailer. Because I'll tell you what, no one's ever sent a mailer out there before, ever. We do very well with data-less counties.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was good. Happy you could join us today. 5 days a week, you can find us here on the Land Academy Show.
Tomorrow, the episode on the Land Academy Show is called 3 Topics from the Advanced Member Discord channel. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
This is good. People want to know what's going on. People often want to know. Well, always want to know what's going on with this group. What are you guys talking about? Mm-hmm. And how do I get into that group? We'll talk about that tomorrow. And thank you for tuning in. By the way, we recently, this year, 2022, has been a big year for us. We released a Land Academy 3.0 called Catching Up with Land Academy. It covers everything that we're doing now, like Jack just talked about, and the new ways that we pull data. And there's still some members, by the way, you know who you are, who have not watched 3.0. And I see you in Discord, and I even tell you, knock it off.
Start with 3.0.
Know what it is? It's like, I want to say, this is me figuratively knocking the mouse out of your hand as you're clicking on RealQuest Pro, and I want you to go click on Data Tree, and I want you to do these extra 3 little steps, and I promise it's going to be better. So anyway, if this crazy community sounds like it might be for you, give us a call or send a note to support@landacademy.com. We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.